George and Peppa were sitting in their living room watching their favorite TV show when George felt a familiar feeling. He had to go pee. So George asked his big sister Peppa if she would go with him to the bathroom. But Peppa said, "Can't you go to the bathroom alone? This is my favorite TV show." And George replied, "Maybe there's a monster in there, or what about ghosts?" But Peppa refused to go, so George had to make an important decision. He really had to go pee, so he decided he was going to have to go to the bathroom by himself. George cautiously entered the bathroom, and he looked around and didn't see any monsters. He thought, maybe it's safe to go pee right now. So he flipped up the toilet lid and began to go pee. Everything was going great. George was having his pee, and there were no signs of monsters. But then, it sounded like he was peeing on the floor. So he opened his eyes, and that's when he noticed the toilet had moved. That was strange. So George shuffled over to finish his pee. Everything was going great again. George was having his pee, and it was all getting into the toilet this time. But once again, it sounded like he was peeing on the floor. So he opened his eyes, and he realized the toilet had moved again. So he shuffled over once more to finish his pee. And again, he was peeing into the toilet, and everything was going as planned. That is, until he opened his eyes and realized that the toilet had grown a set of arms. That's how it was moving on its own. It was crawling away from him when he was taking his pee. But George wasn't done peeing yet, so he tried to catch the toilet to hold it still. But things started to get pretty messy. He couldn't catch the toilet, and pee was going everywhere. Hearing all the commotion, Mummy Pig ran into the bathroom, and when she saw the huge mess, she asked, "What's going on in here?" So George explained, when he was taking a pee, the toilet grew a set of arms and started crawling around everywhere. "Really?" said Mama Pig. "Well, let's take a look at the toilet then." So George took a step back to take a look at the toilet. And what's this? The toilet. It was normal again. There were no arms, and it was in the same position it had always been in. "But Mummy," George said, "the toilet was crawling around everywhere. This big mess isn't my fault." And when Mummy didn't believe him, George started to cry. After George had his big cry, Mummy showed up with some cleaning supplies. George was going to have to clean up his pee. George was back in the living room playing with his new dinosaur when that familiar feeling came back one more time. Yup, he had to go pee again. So he asked Peppa one more time, "Will you go to the bathroom with me? The last time I went, some crazy things happened." But Peppa said she was still watching her favorite TV show. So she suggested, "Why don't you take your new dinosaur with you? He'll protect you." And George thought, "That's a great idea. I'll take my new dinosaur. He'll watch my back." So George returned to the bathroom. When he got to the bathroom, he had a quick look around. Everything looked normal. So he set down his dinosaur and began to go pee. The pee was going well, but then George heard an interesting sound. And when he looked over, his toy dinosaur was a real dinosaur. And the giant dinosaur said, "I gotta go pee right now. I gotta go really bad." But George said, "It's my turn. I haven't even finished yet." But the dinosaur wasn't gonna wait, so he used his big tail to push George aside. And the dinosaur started to take a really big pee. And when the dinosaur finally finished, George quickly moved in so he could finish taking his pee as well. And just as he was finishing up, Mummy Pig came into the bathroom. And that's when she saw the giant mess all over the toilet. But it wasn't me, George said. It was my dinosaur who made this mess. So George took a step back to show her the dinosaur. But when he did, the dinosaur was small again. And Mummy Pig said, "You can't blame this mess on your toy dinosaur. You made this mess." And George began to cry as Mummy left to go get some cleaning supplies again. When Mummy came back, George cleaned up the bathroom again. But afterwards, there was a special surprise. A sergeant from the Potty Police showed up. But it kinda looked like Daddy Pig in his Halloween costume. The Potty Police began to tell George that it's really important not to make a mess when you're taking a pee. And you do this by lifting up the toilet seat before you start peeing. And then Daddy Pig, the Potty Police, started to go pee. And all of his pee went into the toilet. "You see," he said, "it's easy if you're paying attention." And then he took a few steps back and said, "You'd better not try this at home, but when you get really good, you can pee from way over here." And just like before, all his pee was going right into the toilet. And then he took even a few more steps back and started to go pee again. And just like before, all the pee went straight into the toilet. There was no mess at all. So now it was George's turn. And the Potty Police said, "Get as close as you can to the toilet. This is how you won't make a mess. And when you're taking a pee, make sure you're paying attention to what's going on. You gotta keep your eyes open." So George began to take a pee, and this time it was way easier. After he was done, he was so proud that all of his pee went into the toilet. And as a reward, Daddy Pig, the Potty Police, let George wear his hat. And that's how the Potty Police helped George get toilet trained. Thanks for watching Lemon Pie Land, and I'll see you in the very next episode.